Hi there, I'm Scott Gresham, sitting here with Jordan Flett, Red Deer, Alberta. Jordan, thanks for doing this with us.
My pleasure.
We're just going to be talking a little bit about lacrosse and Jordan's lacrosse history. So, Jordan, first of all, thanks for doing this. Appreciate your time. So, basically, we'll just get to know you. Where did you grow up?
Originally from Regina, Saskatchewan. We moved to Red Deer when I was 11.
Yeah.
And with my family and settled here. Been here the last 20 odd years and made a home here, Central Alberta, and we've been playing lacrosse ever since we came to Red Deer.
Yeah. And you have an older brother, Luke.
That's right.
Right?
Yep, one older brother who we spent, growing up on an acreage, spent most of our time playing lacrosse.
Yeah.
Didn't have a lot of TV channels or iPads or things like kids these days, so it's kind of how we spent our time was playing lacrosse.
Absolutely. And definitely. And how did the sport find you?
Really, my dad played when he was younger. He always would tell us stories. He was a big junior hockey player in Regina, but he said one sport he really loved was playing lacrosse. It just wasn't as big or didn't have the base back then.
Yeah.
But he said one sport he really excelled at. He used to tell us stories. He used to play the Notre Dame, the Notre Dame Hounds, the boys' school in Saskatchewan. They used to play them.
Right.
They used to play the RCMP and
Really?
a few native teams, and they always had good stories about just how exciting and high scoring and rough and tough the game was.
Incredible. And then when you came to Red Deer, like it was sought out, it was already established, or where was lacrosse at in Red Deer when you first came?
I think from my recollection, lacrosse was still it was established, but still in its infancy in Red Deer. I think there was a total of maybe 80, 90 kids playing at that time when we first registered, and actually saw where we went to school there. They had some posters up, so we contacted the association and signed up, my brother and I, for that spring.
Right. And how old were you at that time?
I was 11.
11 years old.
Yeah.
So started laxing when you were 11?
That's right.
Sweet. And it was with the Chiefs organization?
Yeah, the minor organization here in Red Deer was the Chiefs. So played all my minor lacrosse here in Red Deer, and had a lot of fun, a lot of tournaments, started a lot of long-lasting friendships in minor lacrosse.
And with respect to actually like who you were playing, like this at that time, like right now within Red Deer, like lacrosse has grown big enough that it can play internally, much like a hockey system does. But when you first began, like you said, it was infancy. Like where were you primarily playing?
We played out of the Greater Edmonton Lacrosse Council.
Yeah.
So we played basically in the North Division, if you want to call that, and Calgary had the South Division.
Yeah.
So we had. Basically, at that time, it was a parity league, so there would be, if there was two teams in a division in a club, such as Red Deer, you would have a draft, and they would split up the players by strength accordingly.
Right.
Whereas in Calgary, they did have an A system, where they would group all the best players in one team. So during the regular season, we'd play in the Edmonton League, and then got a chance during tournaments to play Calgary teams, and it was always a big feather in the cap, big excitement to play a Calgary A team and beat them, being that we were considered a B team.
Yeah, and exactly, like how did Red Deer fare with it coming from a small...
Very well.
Yeah.
Very well. Very tough-nosed. We were very in shape. You know, the cardio was always there. We put in a lot of work at practice. Probably the top 5 guys on our team could match any top 5 in the province. After that, probably dropped off a little bit, but generally made up for it with a lot of hard-nosed guys and a lot of fitness.
Yeah, and when I look at the medals, like from what I see, it's basically if it's not a gold with the Chiefs at a provincial or a playoff with a GLC or within a tournament, it's a silver. Like a lot of...
We had a lot of success. Like I said, we... very well coached, well motivated, and what I found more, and I kind of looking back now at my lacrosse career, we played for each other, which isn't always the case on a lot of teams now.
No,
there was no exclusion. Everyone was playing for everybody, and guys, you talk about getting lightning in a bottle. That's what every sports team, professional team, that's what they shoot for.
Yeah.
Try to achieve is to get working as one unit, one cohesive unit,
Right.
and I think that was our biggest strength.
Right.
Yeah.
All will.
All will and motivation and grit. That's right.
Where there's will, you don't need skill.
That's right. That's true.
Awesome. So do you have any like particular moments from your minor?
I remember minor lacrosse. Our second year bantam, we ended up winning the GLC. I think we only lost one game that whole year.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a big. There was a whole group of us that kind of learned the game together and came up playing together, and really we all just kind of things started clicking. We started getting a little more of the intricacies of the game,
Right.
Systems, pick and rolls, defensive. We all kind of started, filling our own roles.
Right.
And so that was really exciting. That was just a fun time. I mean, we would go to tournaments, play 5 games, and that night we'd be throwing the ball around.
Yeah.
Or between games we'd throw always had the stick in the hand.
Oh, really?
Just couldn't get enough.
Yeah.
Right? Couldn't get enough.
And that's at a bantam level too.
That's right.
Whereas most kids nowadays in organized sports, like with hockey, they're usually pretty burnt out or just want to spend some time on a.
Well, it was never forced on us. It was
No.
just, this is what our friends did, this is what we enjoyed doing, and you just couldn't get enough of it. And that's, I still can't get enough, still love the sport.
So still playing fast. And then so moving on from the Chiefs and the minor organization, let's talk about you moving up into the, well really, when did you first start playing against men? Because I realized there was it was different for Red Deer because when we guys came out of midget, usually you go to junior.
Right.
Right? But there was an intermediate between, so how did Red Deer fit into the system of the Rocky Mountain Lacrosse?
Basically, we almost had a hybrid team. So we were playing men 21 up at 16 years old.
At 16?
At 16, yeah. So there's a big.
So you guys grew up fast.
There's a big learning curve there. You start to learn getting hit by someone who's 25, 30 with man strength is a little different than even getting hit by someone who's bigger than you, maybe 18 or 19. But so we grew up fast, took a lot of licks, took a lot of losses, probably got a lot of chips on our shoulders.
Yeah. That
still stick around to this day and probably carried us through a lot of tough games. Just those memories of these guys not that we want it any other way. They'd give you nothing for free, and that's
right.
That's how the game's supposed to be played.
That's right.
Being 16, they took some liberties that probably wouldn't be allowed today.
Yeah. Oh, unreal. Yeah, you don't see that type of inclusion of a sport just to help it grow.
That's right.
At that age, especially at that age specificity.
That's
and
right.
then, so when you're looking at playing against men, who are the names? Because I know, most people wouldn't recognize these names, but now.
We played against. We were playing against guys such as Dave McCrimmon, Jamie Bowen, Caleb Toth, Joe Toth, his brother, Ray Boyku, Earl Karen, guys that have played. As far as the older guys who have, they played in Man Cups, they played in President's Cups, they played in Field Lacrosse, Ross Cups. Very well traveled, very well skilled, and they knew the game inside and out. And there's still things that you could learn from those guys.
Yeah.
And so I think any of the guys in our team, we never just took a loss. We always tried to, try to take something away from those guys from their game.
Yeah.
You're getting beat by someone who's been around the game longer and has more skill than you. So we always tried to, what's he doing? How's he beating us? What's his end game and how's he getting there? So those are some of the names that come to mind, and they're all NCAA players, and I think Jamie Bowen still has their first, if not second, record for Rocky Mountain Lacrosse League for points per game.
Yeah.
Around 6.5. So.
Yeah, 6.5 points per game.
Per game, yeah.
So a couple names, if you do not know much about lacrosse, with respect to Caleb Toth, he was just retired with the Roughnecks organization as a true roughneck. Basically,
he was the first roughneck for life.
That's right, roughneck for life. So up in the banners now, and then with respect to Jamie Bowen, he has a school up in Edmonton now. He's coaching up there. He's running the FX.
Played for played for the Rush, played
Yeah.
for a couple NLL teams.
Yeah, the Vancouver Ravens.
Vancouver Ravens, yeah,
around.
that's right.
Yeah, so it's a high pedigree of lacrosse, and that's what's interesting about learning more about the Rocky Mountain Lacrosse League, is that it was not a pushover league. It was not something that you could do recreationally, where some people, and really, people don't know. Like they don't really have any idea about when they come to a game to watch that level of lacrosse. They're not expecting that.
No, that's right, and zero funding. You pay your fees to play. You do your fundraising, and you train, and you go and you compete against these guys, and you get up and go to work or school the next morning.
Yeah.
There's no other than those are very almost to that time a very closed circle.
Yeah.
If you weren't in the game, you didn't really know the game. It wasn't very widespread, or they made leaps and bounds over the years, but. Those who were in it obviously appreciated the quality of the lacrosse, and when there was stories, there many teams from BC, Ontario who were the hotbeds of lacrosse that would come to our tournaments and get beat, and kind of got their eyes open, and that's what started opening the doors. Caleb Toth, for example, that's how he got his start. Was the BC team, Burnaby team came to Calgary. He beat their Calgary junior team, beat them, and he had 10 points in some of the games, and
Incredible.
started, it's those are the guys who kind of opened the doors to, wow, there's good athletes, playing lacrosse in Alberta, and
coming in from such a
right.
raw province, and
that's right,
where it wasn't really identified yet.
No, very
lacrosse.
still in its infancy.
Yeah,
that's right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then so like going into from intermediate, being 16, 17, you played with went into senior lacrosse with junior lacrosse, with the Rockets of Red Deer.
That's right.
And that was a fun time.
That was the Rockets. I mean, we had 20, 22 guys who were all excited. All we wanted to do was play lacrosse, and we had some great leaders on that team. Some guys who played some high level hockey in Red Deer, and some guys who we grew up playing lacrosse with that knew how to win and knew how to motivate. And so it's some really good times playing junior lacrosse here in Red Deer, and I was able to play with my brother and other friends we had growing up through lacrosse, and that was a really fun time being young and kind of free, and just being able to try new things in the game, and we were improving all the time.
Right.
And
Red Deer wasn't really looked upon to actually do much, right? Because this is like a blue collar team. You guys all had jobs, and
all had blue collar jobs. So you're working,
and you're playing against junior teams that are programs where these kids are basically
programs. They've got coaches. Back then it was level 5 coaching certification. They had quality coaching. Not that we didn't have quality coaching, but as far as skill sets and specific skills coaching, we maybe didn't have that as much.
Right.
We were kind of left to figure out a lot of the game on our own.
Mm-hmm.
So when the things we figured out, and I always looked to improve, and they started working, that was really exciting. And we were always, and that's the thing about Red Deer lacrosse, which we always kind of pride myself on, is how gritty and hard nosed we always were. Never say die attitude. I know it kind of sounds corny, but that's one of the most things I'm proud of. That's why I'll always be proud to be part of Red Deer lacrosse.
Right. Awesome. And then people took notice of your skill right away.
Yeah,
they knew who you were all through minor, and then growing up when you did hit the junior scene, you went and played some junior A in Poco, was it?
Yeah, I originally was able to be picked up with the Miners, Edmonton Miners Lacrosse Club. Had been around for decades in Edmonton, very successful club, and really they were at the forefront of pushing the sport in Alberta. AJ Joma, longtime coach there, still involved in the game there at the Junior A Miners. He noticed myself and a couple other players from Red Deer, so I mean he brought us out to play field lacrosse. We had never played that game. We'd only played the box version, and you kind of opened up the world to us, showing what you could accomplish and what you could give to lacrosse and what lacrosse could give to you.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to play in 3 Junior B national championships, Founders Cups, which won one of them in 1999 in Milton, Ontario.
Right.
Those are great experiences.
With respect to the Founders Cup, that's a truly national championship.
That's right.
Like nowadays, it's a truly national championship. It's probably one of the most sought after cups to win in lacrosse.
That's correct. It's truly national, teams from every province competing in it. It's very grueling. You're playing 7, 8 games over 5 days, 5, 6 days in
Mm-hmm.
in Ontario summer. Alberta boys not used to the humidity.
Oh,
You know,
indescribable.
it's all yeah, it's under, yeah. Until you're in it, you don't know. But it's you know, obviously the tournament moves around. But those were our favorite times. We hosted once in Edmonton. We played in twice in Ontario. And actually, other than Ontario teams, there's only been, at that time when we won, there was only one other team outside of Ontario that ever won a Founders Cup, and that was Enoch Tomahawks back in 1980 that AJ Joma had actually played on, another Alberta team. So it was 1980 and 1999. Other than that, you look down the ledger, it was Ontario. Now I think since I played, I believe there was another Alberta team.
Yeah, the Calgary Junior Mountaineers.
So it's 3 Alberta teams and the rest Ontario over the last 50 years or so.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah, so we were very, very proud of that championship.
And when you look at that roster, again, like I know this, like when you look down that roster, just to name a few, like with yourself, your brother was called up with
That's
yourself,
right.
a couple other Red Deer kids, but there's like Stu Sturpon, another leader of the Rocky Mountain Lacrosse League.
Yep, top overall points getter in the Rocky Mountain Lacrosse League.
And then you got one name that if you actually watch videotape, you would be surprised by the skill level, is Jimmy Quinlan, who now is the captain of the Edmonton Rush and has been in that organization, in that league for almost, getting up to close to 10, I think.
That's right, yeah.
So
Devin Ray coaches now with Edmonton Rush. He was on that team. His brother Taylor
with St. Joseph's University. He's basically he's the head coach there and one of the head recruiters. And Devin, again, like guys that played at Duke University and very successful.
Blaine Manning, one of the best all-time Toronto Rock players. Ben Prepchuk, you know, maybe not in that specific team, but that's guys we've all played with in the minors organization.
Yeah, it's truly like it's something to be proud of for sure.
Yeah.
Coming up. So then we come out of junior lacrosse, and then you're into your senior career.
Right.
And senior's basically running from the ages of 21.
Correct.
And until your body basically
gives out.
Yeah.
And that's most guys. Usually their bodies give out before their will does.
Yeah.
Actually, got a Rage jersey right here. That's Red Deer Rage. So we had we had some import guys. But the core group of guys was, you know, various very close age groups, but who've grown up playing it in Red Deer and still wanted to compete. And so we played in the Senior B League. Was the top level lacrosse here in Alberta, the Rocky Mountain Lacrosse League. So we started our Senior B team and competed as the Rage for it was 5, 6, 7 years as that entity in the Senior B League.
Yeah. And it was just basically the same core group of guys that stuck it out and came up through the system. And
that's correct. Yeah, they're
just a blue-collared, hard-nosed group of guys.
I think one of the greatest compliments. I mean, we had success over the years. Could never really reach that pinnacle. We just were missing some of the skilled guys. But those teams, such as Edmonton Outlaws and the Mountaineers, they showed a lot of respect to us, and they, you know, one of the best comments they ever made was, "You're never going to get an easy game on a Red Deer. 8 guys, 9 guys, 10 guys, we're never going to roll over for you." And that's just the way we played. That's how the game should be played.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you don't see that a lot.
No,
because I know for an instance that you can go up and play against other teams that are running 10 guys, and when you get in those situations, they, like you said, they lay over pretty quickly.
That's right, and it was a common occurrence for us being a blue-nose team or a blue-collar team. Fellas away working, they're injured, or there was a lot of times you did play with 10 guys and competed with 10 guys. And if you looked at, you know, it doesn't count in the final, but you look at the box scores, and the first and second periods were always competitive, but it was the third where you just, you know, your body, you just don't have the juice anymore, and they start pulling away.
Yeah, because I looked at the stats, and I remember games against the Outlaws where it was
3-3.
Where it was in hand.
Yeah.
It wasn't like what they expected it to be. So
the score didn't reflect the whole game.
That's right.
So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then after the Red Deer team, you moved on to the Okotoks Raiders.
That's right. I was lucky enough. I got a call from Okotoks, guys we had competed against. I should mention, while I was playing senior with the Rage, I did get to play in the President's Cup with the Senior Mountaineers.
Nice.
And that was a really good experience. Really enjoyed that, and you know, we were able to play in the President's Cup here in Edmonton, so that was great. And then fast forward, like I said, Okotoks called me, and I was still interested in playing senior lacrosse, so I went down there and started off with that organization, and it was great right from the start. I was welcomed with open arms. It's a very well run organization, and yeah, you know.
And one thing I think I should just point out quickly is that when Jordan plays, you were the captain of your team consistently and consecutively throughout most of the seasons, and then when you did come into the Okotoks system after you took over wearing the C, did you not, for Brian Kopak?
That's right. When I came on the team, like I said, I've been lucky enough to wear the C for a lot of teams, and I you know, take a lot of pride in it, and I value it. And when I came in to play with Okotoks, they had Brian Kopak, another great player. You know, played for a lot of years, Rocky Mountain Lacrosse. So he was the captain. Ended up getting hurt kind of near the end of the year, so then I was given the C to wear as we went into the playoffs, and subsequently went to the President's Cup. So I was able to wear the C at the President's Cup in Ontario. They were
Incredible.
Six Nations.
Sweet.
And carried that through to the next year as well.
Right.
Yeah.
And then coming out of Okotoks, I was like, but now we're talking, how old are you coming out of Okotoks?
Coming on Okotoks, I would have started there at the age of 29, I think was my first year at Okotoks. And I would have finished 30.
30.
Yeah, it would have been 30 the year I was done with Okotoks. Yeah.
And then you thought for a while there, like you're married, you have 3 beautiful children.
Yes.
Yeah.
The traveling up and down the highway to Okotoks, 2 hours, got a little much.
Yeah.
Needed to be at home with the kids, wanted to still be involved with them, and but still didn't want to quit the game. Still have a lot of passion for it. So with, you know, the Rage not being around anymore, you know, a bunch of us got together and we started the Senior C Silverbacks here in Red Deer, in which we're currently still playing and competing and managing and coaching.
Yeah, and it's grown to be a competitive league now as the game's grown.